Who are you?
I'm no one.
Alright, we are back with another D&D movie time in the month of May, finishing up. We're getting close to finishing up Star Wars month. So, last time we watched The Force Awakens. It was pretty good, right? Nice return to form, even though a lot of people like to complain. Because, I mean, that's pretty much what this fan base is known for. Major complaining. But, now we are moving into, The Last Jedi. And when we last left Rey, she was handing, Luke's lightsaber back to him. And Finn was in a coma. And yeah, that's pretty much the most important things. So excited for this one? Alright. Well then, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into The Last Jedi, and Cora can tell us what it was about when we're done.
Bye.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be. We have a spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. This is not going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Alright, so we just finished The Last Jedi. Cora, tell us in your words, what is this movie about?
Okay, so basically you get the little roll credits. You know, the entry and stuff.
Title crawl.
Yeah, title crawl. Title crawl. Okay. And
They're evacuating.
yeah, they're evacuating because the Force Awakens is attacking again for the sixth time. And basically, after a bunch of stuff that I most likely forgot, we meet back with Luke and Rey. Luke is refusing to teach her even just come back, while Rey is trying to convince him to come back to the Force.
Resistance.
And too bad, so I forgot.
Well, does he eventually end up training her? Or?
Yeah.
And what's going on with the resistance while they're...
They're getting swarmed by the Force Awakens.
They're being chased?
Yeah, and they try fast time and thingamabob, I forgot. But the Force Awakens follows and somehow tracks them around light speed. Wow, it's amazing how it just figured it out.
Yeah. And, what do we learn about Rey? What new ability does she have?
Somehow speaking to other people across the
Well, not other people.
across the galaxy.
Specifically Kylo Ren.
Yes, get into that!
There's some strange connection between them.
Spoiler alert, if you don't go get that to that like in 5,000 hours. It's actually the Emperor that is manipulating the Force, I think, to connect the minds together.
Well, now who's spoiling? Because you didn't learn that in this.
Wait, what?
And are you talking about Snoke?
The Emperor?
He's not the Emperor.
I know.
Supreme Leader.
Yeah, Supreme Leader, that one. That's what I was talking about.
And, so what else happens with Rey on the island? What does she learn about Luke?
That Luke tried to kill. That Luke tried to kill Han Solo. No, not Han Solo. His kid.
Ben Solo?
Ben Solo.
And what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was like Luke, like for like a small single pinpoint 5 second. 0.5 second of him like going to the dark side, like trying to kill someone that he thinks will join the dark side.
Anyways, continue on. Also, you're forgetting about the cave.
Oh yeah, the cave of darkness.
What did Rey see in the cave?
Herself. Well, a meal that full of herself. That meal somehow leads to another meal. That one revealed just also leads to herself, and she wasn't for herself. So technically, the first answer was right, and it leads to herself.
Lots and lots of copies of herself.
Yeah.
Alright. And, so she decides what?
no.
To go back and try to turn Kylo Ren back to the good side?
Yeah, which doesn't really work as well. I mean, she gets captured, then she gets to the Supreme Leader, and don't... Oh. Look at the cute doggy.
Alright, come on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, and meanwhile, the Resistance is, I'm trying to think.
What's Finn doing during all this?
Oh yeah, trying to break it in to go ahead and try to destroy the tracker, which is trapped in the shield. Not the shield, though.
But what do they need to get to the tracker?
A code breaker, which betrays them.
So they go to another planet called Canto Bight. What did you think of that?
Oh, good. Seems like something I made up, that I would make up, but yes. And I think the way, like, let me just real quick do like a theory of mine. I think the way that the lightsabers are made is like they get like some sort of crystal and they put it like this machine that's like a blade but it's also light, and then boom, lightsaber. But the way that they interpret, like, blue is Jedi, red is the dark side, the Sith.
Well, there's a whole reason why, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but it has nothing to do with this.
And like the cave was like full of wet crystals, so I think like that was the Sith way of like getting the lightsabers.
See, Disney tried to change it, but originally, the way it's always been with a Sith user is a dark side user creates their own crystal. They use science and force to form their own synthetic crystal, which will always come out red. And the blue, the green, all the other colors, those are natural. It can be found in so many different places among the galaxy. Stop. Sit back. Anyways, and it has to do with the reason why the dark side users create their own crystal is they believe that it gives them full mastery over the Force. So like the Jedi find their crystals, bond with their crystals to create their lightsaber. They feel it's like a bonding moment between them and the Force. Whereas the dark side users, they create their crystals to control, to show mastery of that control over the Force. But anyways, that has really nothing to do with this. So moving on. Okay, so what happens as Rey is on her way to go confront Kylo Ren, as Finn is getting a code breaker? What happens with Luke?
I'm thinking. Yoda!
Man. Were you surprised to see Yoda?
A bit. And like, I was happy that I saw Yoda. Like, it's not once. It's not like. It's not. Hang on, let me try to think of the phrase. It's not every day that you see a return friend that's also a ghost, and that should have died as a ghost, so they technically still died.
Well, Obi-Wan said to Vader, strike me down and I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. So, I mean, if you're talking in the sense of a Force ghost, they became one with the Force, which gives them more control over the Force.
They have become a Force crystal.
No. Let's see what else. Okay, so Rey makes her way to Kylo Ren, and what happens? What does he do?
Betray the... What's the guy's name again?
Oh, you're jumping ahead. What does Kylo Ren do? He takes her to see Snoke.
Yes, Snoke.
And then he betrays Snoke and kills him, right?
Yep.
What'd you think of that scene?
I mean, like, it was going to happen one way or another.
But you liked it?
Yeah, but, like, it could have happened one way or another.
And then they fight side by side to defeat the Red Guards, right?
But honestly, like, that could happen in episode 9. And then, like, that was originally supposed to be 9 episodes, but, like, what's the new 10th one they're making? I'm actually kind of interested in what they're going to do with it.
Well,
because
we don't know exactly, but,
I know, but, like...
This was only 8. We're only on episode 8.
I know, but I'm curious, like, what are they going to do for episode 10?
Guess we'll find out when it comes out.
Wait, it's not out yet?
No.
Oh, come on!
Anyways, okay, so Finn and Rose, they get on board with the code breaker. A code breaker. How does that go for them?
Bad, because they get in, they get captured, Codebreaker betrays them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they couldn't even follow directions. They were supposed to get a certain person, and they just took the first person that came along, kinda. Alright, so what happens there with the Resistance? Being that they're about out of fuel at this point.
Yes, so they'll evacuate in the middle of this to take shelter in like an old rebel base.
And the First Order starts shooting out the ships.
Uh-huh.
What does Holdo do?
Holdo, who's Holdo?
The girl with the purple hair.
She goes ahead and starts going into light speed. Towards the ship, and then makes an epic explosion in the entire world, cutting the ship in half.
We saw 4 planets explode last time.
But this was a ship.
This is a ship, boy.
Exactly. And do you know what? It didn't even have a big old ship. It had a smaller ship that went to light speed straight into the ship. Like, for my little kid brain that just does nothing and watch memes and YouTube and plays Minecraft all day.
You know,
this is extremely cool for me.
A lot of people were sitting there saying, oh, that's so stupid. How come they don't ever do that before? Why didn't they do that with the Death Star? Or why don't they ever try doing that at any other point? And it's like, well, there's several reasons. A, if you use your ship to go to light speed and crash into something, you're going to create debris that's also now going to be moving at light speed. And whatever planets or anything else behind now is going to get struck by debris. I mean, our planet, if there was any debris that was to hit our planet moving at light speed, that was maybe the size of a car, would probably be devastating to our planet. Because it would rip through our planet like a bullet through a piece of paper. So what she did was extremely dangerous and could have long-term repercussions for anything in the path of where she struck.
And there's actually a reason to the final one being that whoever said that is a complete idiot.
And so, like, a lot of people, they were upset. But it's like, okay, that was it. You know, of course you're not going to do that all the time. It was an extreme circumstance. And she wasn't exactly thinking. Some people, like Animated Senpai, has issues with Holdo altogether. Saying that, oh, it's woke. And it's like, well, not really. They actually explain why she's put in charge. Because everyone else who was next to be in charge after Leia was killed because they were all on the bridge of that ship. And being that that was basically their capital ship at that point, their last remaining big ship, yeah, it's very believable that, okay, now you're going to have to bring in other people from other ships to take over this ship because everyone else is dead or in a coma. Also, people did not like Leia using the Force to bring herself back onto the ship.
Oh, come on, that's very cool. I mean, come on.
They like to say it's like Leia Poppins, or it was like Mary Poppins.
I mean, yes, man, it just like looked like it was like in the middle of a green screen. Not like they actually made this entire movie in space, or did they? But
if you pay attention to the scene, you can see that she's kind of preparing herself. She knew it was coming. She knew it was about to happen. And she used the Force to protect herself, and so she could use the Force to get back into the ship.
And plus,
and we already knew from Return of the Jedi, Luke already told her, that she has the same powers. So we should expect some great power from her. And we haven't seen that. I mean, it was quite clear that Luke probably trained her in some ways. Maybe not in everything. She didn't go picking up a lightsaber.
But she knows how
but
to use
she
one.
knows how to at least use some of the Force. We saw her naturally using the Force to sense Luke in Empire Strikes Back. What people consider to be one of the greatest Star Wars movies of all.
I mean, like, think about it. The only thing you can use to avoid dying in space is a magical thing that doesn't even exist called the Force.
Anyways,
what do you do?
We're kind of getting off topic. So let's continue on. So they finally make it to the Rebel base. Snoke's ship is being destroyed, so they're evacuating. What happens with the Resistance then? They show up with giant walkers and a huge cannon. So what does the Resistance do?
They begin to make a run for it.
No, they break out some fighters to go try to shoot the cannon down.
And then Luke comes in, and then what do? He goes ahead and faces Ben.
Well, it's more trying. You keep jumping the gun.
We don't have a gun, and plus I'm not even jumping.
Jumping the gun is an expression.
I love being a smart buddy.
Finn tries to sacrifice himself by crashing into it, but Rose knocks him out of the way at the last second. And then she kisses him. What did you think of that?
No. 1,000 times no.
Why?
My eyes won't watch nothing.
Why?
I couldn't be like me on a normal casual Sunday morning and asking why a million.
No, I just want to know why. Why do you not like that?
'Cause, to be honest, I don't know. I just don't like it.
Who would you prefer Finn end up with?
Wait.
Do you think there's a romance between Rey and Finn?
No.
Just, not kidding. Do you?
Can you just move off topic?
No, because that's been one of my biggest things. Like, if you watch every interaction between Rey and Finn, there's definitely like this hard the way they look at each other, the way they think about each other, the way they care about each other, even from the word go, it's always felt like there was this connection between the two characters, that they were meant to be together, like they were the new Han and Leia. And then they tried to throw Rose in here, and people did not like Rose. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you're bringing in a third wheel when we don't need a third wheel because the bike's already running on 2 wheels. Just fine. And the third wheel is just odd. So,
unless you want training wheels.
Then it would be 4 wheels. But no,
You
it's...
got a point.
But this is when everybody started trying to ship Rey and Kylo Ren together. Calling them Reylo. And I've always been like, no, she might have somewhat of an interest. I could see that she maybe had somewhat of an interest in Kylo Ren. But only from this movie. She absolutely despised him in The Force Awakens. She maybe got a little bit more of a redeeming quality in this. But I still feel like, when at the very end, when she's lifting the rocks to clear the path, and who's the first person that she looks at? Finn. Their eyes meet and they smile at each other like they're incredibly happy to see each other as alive. And it's like, that is kind of all the proof right there that you need that they really do care for each other. And it's not the just being friends kind of caring either. But moving on, so I just gave you a little bit. So they get away. Oh yeah, and what happened to Rey/Luke's lightsaber during this movie?
Split in part in half, in pieces, and
got broken in half.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You forgot to mention that during the fight.
A fight's a fight.
And then I had to point out to you that what was Luke using in his little vision?
A green light.
No.
A blue lightsaber.
Yep.
Da.
Lightsaber is green. And even Kylo Ren didn't pick up on that because he was so... And that's why they did it. They did that to make you realize that he was so driven by his hate for Luke that he couldn't even see the clear, obvious signs. There was no footprints. That Luke was using the same lightsaber that he himself had just destroyed with Rey back on Snoke's ship. And that's the context they're using of why he's so filled with anger and hatred. So, there's that.
And in the end.
Yep. So, alright, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give our final thoughts and scores. See you in a minute.
Bye.
In the glow of the moonlight, shadows fall. Organa whispers secrets as night calls. She's got a heart heavy of love that transcends, but time is of need and hope might just bend. In dreams she will wander through the silent haze to pull them from slumber, to break through the maze. So wake up, take on you, break free from the chains, let the light shine bright. Have hope still remains. In a world full of darkness, she's searching for you. Love is still so powerful, it's destined and true. Echoes of laughter now lost in the void, where memories linger and lost and destroyed. She reaches for shade, but his eyes are so cold. A warrior's heart turned to ashes and bone, but she'll fight through the shadows with magic untold, to shatter the silence, to make it be whole. So wake up, take on you, break free from the chains, let the light shine bright. In a world full of darkness, she's searching for you. Love is still so powerful, it's destined and true. From the depths of the darkness, her heart lights the way, for its ancient magic can conquer the grave.
Alright. Cora, starting with you. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this one?
A 10 out of 10. This is my new favorite of the series. I mean, it had the biggest explosion, it had build-ups, it had twist plots, it had cliffhangers. Well, obviously, cliffhangers, but still. And in my opinion, this is the best. Like, I don't care if people complain about it. Guess what? That's great for you, but guess what? Nobody asked for your opinion. And if someone did, then one does the stupidest thing.
They're asking your opinion.
I know, but I was just telling that to every single one who.
And everybody can have an opinion.
I know, but still. But this for me is my favorite out of the series. Besides the game, other favorite I have, but still.
Yeah, you were just a little baby when this came out, I think.
Go Gaga.
This was, I think, yeah, this was the last Star Wars I actually went to see with your mother. We had saw The Force Awakens together, we had saw The Last Jedi together, but then after that, a few months later, that's when your mom left. So, after we saw Ready Player One.
For like the 5th time because it was Easter?
No, like in theaters when it came out for the first time.
Oh, wait. So, Ready Player One released like around when I was born?
Not around when you were born. I think you were like 1 or 2.
Okay, let's be quiet now. We'll talk about this later. I just forgot we were recording.
Anyways, so what was your favorite thing about this movie?
Well, like I said,
Like your favorite scene?
Explosion, go kaboom!
So the Holdo maneuver?
Yeah,
That's what they call that scene, the Holdo maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't care if other people, like, say it was, like, too unrealistic. Like, why
Well,
did
they don't
do
say
that?
it's unrealistic. They're more or less saying, why don't they ever do this again? If this was so effective, why haven't they done this before? And the answer is actually quite simple. She did it out of an act of desperation to save the lives of everyone else. She sacrificed herself. I mean, she was already sacrificing herself to stay behind on the ship to try to give them a chance to move the ship out of the range. So it's like, okay, now you got to pick your targets. The transports or the big ship? And since they were targeting the transports, she's like, well, I'm going to get in the way and I'm going to go to light speed to try to take your ship out. And so that's why she did it. Now, the other reason why, to answer the question, I talked about this in a previous video, but I'll talk about it again. The reason why they have never tried this and don't ever try this again, honestly, is because they are the good guys. Only the good guys are not going to use suicide bombers. During World War I and World War II, we had planes. We could have crash landed our planes into the enemy bases every time we knew about them. We could have had our pilots sacrificing themselves. In fact, some countries will do that. Some countries will use their actual planes as a means to cause more destructive damage.
That's a waste of material.
It's a waste of people too. They're called suicide bombers. I mean, we don't look at ourselves as the bad guys. We are not going to throw lives away like that. And especially in the Resistance, I mean, not only would they have to throw away a life, they have to throw away an entire ship. And those ships aren't cheap. Those ships cost money and they only have so many ships. If you go around crashing them into other ships all the time, just because those ships are bigger and better than your ship, well then, you're going to run out of ships pretty darn quick. Right?
Uh-huh.
And, so, who's your favorite character?
Finn.
Why Finn?
I don't know.
Okay. Was he funnier in this one?
Yes.
What made him funnier? Did he have a line that you really liked?
I don't know, just like everything he did was funny. And to be honest, like, this one scene was also my favorite. Like, when Luke is asking him where Rey came from, and they're like, no, well, everyone's from somewhere. Where's she from again?
Jakku.
Jakku, yeah, it's basically nowhere. I mean, come on. You gotta get some laughs out of that scene.
Yeah. That's another problem Anime D Senpai had too. He didn't like the joke at the beginning.
Why?
Because he thought it was stupid because he doesn't get modern day humor. You know what joke I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, I'm holding for General Hugs. This is Hux. Alright, I'll hold. I'm looking for General Hugs.
Yeah, like the one where he pretends not to hear him.
Well, it's not that he was pretending. He was saying Hugs, Hugs, and the guy's name is Hux, Hux. See, and Kevin didn't get it. He didn't understand that type of humor. And he's like, that's just stupid in a Star Wars movie. No, that just shows that comedy is universal.
Yeah.
That the same kind of comedy we have here on Earth, they have in a galaxy far, far away.
A long time ago.
But anyways, anything else you want to say about this one before we finish up?
No, your score.
Alright, moving on to my score on a scale of 1 to 10. If you asked me before I rewatched this, before I've had to make all these arguments, the day I would have walked out of the theater with this, I would have given this a 5 out of 10. However, after all the arguments and all the fighting I've had to do, especially with my best friend, Anime D Senpai, who keeps trash talking this entire movie, after all the defending I've done on this, I actually would have to give this a 6 out of 10.
Yay!
Is it the best Star Wars? Not my opinion. But is it the worst? It definitely has some bad moments. I am definitely not a fan of the character of Rose. I feel like that character was unneeded, unwarranted, and really tried to force it in. And the fact they tried to make her a love interest to Finn, and she's fangirling all over Finn, is really bad. The whole thing with the Canto bite, like, that entire thing would have been so much better probably without her. Like, if she had just dropped Finn off and took off and said, I'll be back in like a half hour, hurry up and find it, it was just Finn and BB-8 the whole time, and all the same things happened, I would have enjoyed that better. But they had to put in this whole thing about, oh, this place is so evil because it's filled with rich people. And that is a general leftist point of view, even though, like, the leftist point of view doesn't understand that what you're saying is still keep rich people in power. And they tried to also say that the only reason that anybody there was rich was because they sold weapons to the First Order. Yet then that code breaker that they did get comes along and proves that they weren't just selling to the First Order, they were selling to the Resistance and the Republic as well. Did that ship happen to belong to an arms dealer? Well, they didn't just sell arms. It looked like they sold other parts, engine parts and whatnot. But they sold ship parts. They were a ship company. And yeah, a ship company is going to sell to whoever's going to buy. And there's so many other occupations in the galaxy, especially this kind of a galaxy, that is going to involve probably a lot of ships and parts. And yes, those companies are going to be making money. Think about this. A good portion of those people that were at Canto Bight might be companies that make food and send food around the galaxy. Like spice dealers and farming companies. People who sell fuel for the spaceships. You know, those people probably make a lot of money too. It's not just arms. Tony Stark actually stopped selling weapons and went into the energy business, and he was still rich. Yeah, his family might have originally made their fortune on it, but if giving up weapons was something that was really going to break them, then he would have been poor like by the end of the second movie, and he wasn't. His business was still thriving. In fact, he was doing much more. Apparently, he's richer than Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne's company does everything. Weapons, fuel, energy, farming, food, water, everything. The Wayne Enterprise is like top tier in that universe. And somehow, he has less money than Tony Stark. I don't understand how that's possible, but...
I mean, like, they're doing everything. Every single thing.
But anyways, and here is another big thing that me and my friend have argued about is Luke Skywalker. He hates this movie so much. I would love to actually sit down sometime and have like a couch talk or something where we sit down and debate in front of you guys so he can hear how he sounds looking back after we have this debate. But I think we're going to have to plan it out a little bit. It won't be as natural as some of the arguments we've had where I've had to come up with stuff really quickly based on this movie. But he hates the way Luke Skywalker is portrayed. He feels that this movie makes Luke look like a coward. I don't understand how that exactly is the thing. And worthless. He thinks that Luke Skywalker's character became worthless. And it's like he fails to see that Luke tried to keep the Jedi going, and he failed. And when he failed epically. Maybe not as much as the Jedi who allowed Sidious to rise to power, which is a point he actually brings up. That they were so blinded by their power and their status that they didn't even see Sidious coming. And they let Sidious wipe them out. And he was wiped out by one, but he was only one person. And so there's that whole thing. And it's just like, some people don't get it. Most of the people don't get it. This is something someone else said. You cannot watch these movies based on just the movies alone. You gotta know the lore. You gotta know the, expanded parts of the universe. But you also really need to pay attention to the movie itself. When I walked out of this movie, like I said, I would have given it a 5. Why a 5? Because I was very confused on whether I liked it or whether I didn't like it. I was right there in the middle. But after talking about it so much, after watching it a few times, it's kind of grown on me a little bit. Like I said, it's not in any way the best one, but I've come to appreciate it more. And you gotta put your hate for Disney or your hate for Rian Johnson aside and understand that yes, there were things that worked and there were things that didn't work. And sorry, but the things that worked outweighed the things that didn't work. For me, the biggest things that didn't work was Rose and the relationship they tried to force down our throats with her and Finn and her whole outlook on Canto Bight. I mean, I was groaning every time. But a lot of the other stuff was fine. I liked it. I had no problem with it. And it all felt like Star Wars. Even the stuff that I didn't like still felt like Star Wars. Rose was the biggest letdown of the entire movie for me. So, yeah. That's going to go ahead and end this. When we come back, if you want to see our final thoughts, I hope we didn't lose you on this one. But, I mean, stick around. We got episode 9 coming out soon. And then we will be doing a ranking video where me and Cora will sit down and we'll both rank all the movies. So, alright, with that said, we will see you all in the next episode.